cry this whole time. I bet you. She's like, I want attention. Give me attention. Me too, Harley. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Historia.
Do you notice something different?
You probably already do. We sound like we're not underwater.
I love that. I love this. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jamie.
I'm Kylie.
And this is fantastic.
Yes, this is very
this.
exciting. We have a new setup. So it feels weird, but it's going to be really good. So
I apologize for the next couple weeks if I sound really gross, because I'm getting over an ailment.
Okay.
I get sick every single shift of weather here in Colorado, and it's the worst because it gets like super hot one day. Like today it was like 75, but the wind is like 75 miles per hour.
There was a huge fire.
I saw that.
Yeah.
You can't even see the mountains right now because the smoke is so bad.
Looks like smoke. Like you can usually see the mountains right there.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. And it's not even that far from where my work was. My coworker brought it up. She's like, hey, do you see this fire going on?
Yeah.
Up on Interquest? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was at the church, but I guess it was just like a grass fire.
It was a grass fire. It was behind where my mom works. And so she was working remotely today because she does like some days remotely.
Oh, that's good.
And so but everyone who's there had to evacuate.
Yeah.
So that's pretty intense.
Dude, that had to have been someone like on break or something smoking.
Yeah, cigarette or something.
That's so stupid. Like, it's so dry right now and it's so windy.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you gonna be like that?
Come on, Colorado. Yeah.
This is
Colorado has so many fires.
Well, this is like not this early, but this is like the 5th or 6th one in the last month.
I'm kind of scared for what the summer will be like.
Awful. People just need to stop being dumbasses.
Yeah. It's only April and we have fire.
Oh, God. Is anything related to fire today that you're talking about? I don't know.
There is a fire involved later, I think.
Oh. I don't know what Kylie's doing, so this should be interesting.
Yeah. I am doing a requested episode.
Oh!
Yeah, and this was a fun one for me because I didn't know anything about this topic. So I'm doing a person today who I've never heard of. He's a criminal.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Please explain.
I will. Are we ready to just jump on in?
Let's dive on in.
Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about Adam Worth. And like I said, this was requested, and I'm really glad because this was a fun story to learn about. And criminals are so fascinating to me, especially when they don't get caught. And it took him years and years of just not being able to trace it back to him.
Oh, so this is a little history true crime. I love this.
I will say, if you're a Sherlock Holmes fan. If you're a Sherlock Holmes fan, you will know that this is most likely who the professor's character is based off of. And I know nothing about Sherlock Holmes, so I can't really go further into that. But I did hear that a lot of Sherlock Holmes fans believes that Adam Worth was the inspiration between Professor Moriarty.
I watched the Robert Downey Jr. ones because my mom loves him.
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
Robert Downey Jr.?
I don't know actors. I don't.
Iron Man.
Oh, yeah. I know him.
I'm terrible with names, but for some odd reason, my brain likes to collect random bullshit.
Yeah.
And he just is just one of them, I guess.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I'm going to be talking about Adam Worth today, and nobody actually knows what year he was born in. They're guessing around 1844, but there's no documentation. A reason for this is because he did end up changing his name later on, so they might have just lost all of that. Mm-hmm. So he was born in Germany. We do know that for sure. And he was from a super poor family. He is also Jewish, in case you wanted to know. So he moved from Germany to Cambridge, Massachusetts when he was 5 years old, and his father got a job as a tailor. And he barely had an education. Like I said, his family was very poor, so he did not have a lot of opportunity. But he was born just naturally smart. He knew what he was talking about.
So because some kids just pick up on shit like real easily.
Yeah, that was him for sure. So he went to elementary school, but he never made it to like college or anything like that. But he did just know a lot about the world. He was forced to do manual labor to help his family out since they were so poor. And when he was 14 years old, he ran away from home and went to Boston.
Boston.
Oh, yeah. Never been there. I want to, but I've never been there.
Goals.
Yeah, for sure. He stayed there for a few years and worked a bunch of odd jobs just to make ends meet. In 1860, he moved to New York. And he got a job as a clerk in a department store. Did you like my accent? That was really good. This was the only legal job he would ever have. Working in a department store.
Oh, God. What is this man up to?
You just wait. All right. And I can hear your ice.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to, like, clear my throat
okay.
or I'll be, like, hacking all day.
Feel free to cough and I'll just restart, like, wherever we were.
Okay.
Or drink water. Okay. All right. Anyway.
I should have brought tea.
Do you like my lava lamp? Isn't it cool?
I freaking love your lava lamp. I got Erica a lava lamp ornament for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
Because I was too cheap to buy her one.
This
it was
one,
like $50.
Yeah, this one was on Amazon. It's really colorful.
I like it. It's very, like, retro.
Oh, I said at the same time. Oh, all right. And so working in this department store, again, was the only legal job he'd have, and he was not good at it.
He was not a salesman, or
No,
he just hated clothes?
I'm guessing a little bit of both. I don't think it was his, like, strong suit, and he probably just wasn't, like, it just wasn't his type of thing. So he was forced to leave his job. And then in 1861...
So you mean he got fired?
Yeah. I'm trying to say it nicely.
They canned him.
He's out.
Yeah.
In 1861 was the start of the Civil War, and he was 17 and lied about his age, so that he could enlist in the army. This was more of his speed.
Yeah.
So he joins the army, and he's in the artillery regiment, and then he's promoted to corporal and then sergeant. So he led a bunch of troops into battle until August of 1862 when he was badly injured.
Ooh.
He was in the hospital. He recovered after a few months. And while he was in the hospital, he realized that he was listed as killed in action. So everybody thought that he died. And he took this as an opportunity.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Oh, yeah. And so he left the army and enlisted in different regiments with different names to claim bounties. This was just the beginning. Yeah. He's kind of smart, but, like, I mean, if they think you're dead.
He's kind of skeevy.
Yeah. That's the best word for it, probably.
Yeah.
But the thing about him that I really appreciate is that he hated violence. And no matter what he did, no matter how many crimes he commits, there's never violence involved.
What?
You're going to see it's a lot of robberies, and that kind of thing, but he doesn't hurt anyone.
So you probably just knocked him out.
He's just sneaky.
So he's like a pickpocket.
What I realized is it's a lot easier to do things back in the day at midnight.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was no cameras, and the cops didn't care.
Yeah, so he would do things at, like, midnight when nobody was there.
That's the perfect time to rob.
Right. And he didn't want to, lie about the regiments and whatnot with different names, but he needed the money somehow, and he knew that he had to do what he had to do. So when he was paid for that regiment, he would quit, and then he'd go on to the next regiment.
Wow.
So they'd give him the bounty money. He'd be like, bye. But then Pinkerton's National Detective Agency began to start tracking him down. They started to notice his little track. But they couldn't gather any information because he stopped bounty hunting when he kind of knew that they were suspecting him. And then he moved back to New York. They didn't know where he was. Yeah, he's sneaky. And after the war, New York City was full of gambling, prostitution, partying. It was like the hip place to be. And so with this being said, he joined a gang. Why not?
Oh, hell yeah. That's what New York's notorious for.
Why not join a gang, you know? And so he became a pickpocketer in a gang. And he established...
I knew he was.
Yeah. You did. You called it. He actually ended up establishing his own gang of pickpocketers. It took me 5 minutes to write pickpocketer because the word just confused me when I was trying to spell it. But anyway. So because he became so well known within like the gang community, I don't know what to call it. A lot of people knew of him, knew of his work. So,
like, they didn't necessarily fear him, but they were like, he's good.
Yeah,
you want to use him,
right? And he went on to plan and finance a bunch of different heists in New York City. I will say with him, a lot of times he would just pay people to do things. He didn't usually partake in it, but he was the mastermind behind it.
Oh,
some things he actually would participate in, but. One day, he was trying to steal cash from an Adams Express wagon. He was caught.
Adams Express?
Yeah, that was
the
name of it.
Oh.
I don't know. No. So he was sentenced to 3 years of manual labor in prison, but he didn't want to lose what he worked for. He was like, I came so far. I'm making money. So he escaped prison after 3 weeks.
It's not that hard to during then.
Yeah, no. Probably just like opened the window and walked out. So he started working under Frederica Mandelbaum, and she was a notorious criminal freelancer.
I love that.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of her, and she's just all serious. And under her guidance, this would help him be able to have safe heists and be able to get away with things.
Yeah.
And so he was very successful with many robberies under her guidance. She just kind of gave him the ropes. Mm-hmm. This is what we do. This is what we don't do. And so he went on to do this for the rest of the 1860s. And so eventually she was like, you know what? You're good at this. So in 1869, she hired him to do a jailbreak and help this guy get out of jail.
Oh.
Yeah. And so basically it was Adam Worth and then another criminal. They worked together to help build a tunnel underneath the jail that this guy was in. They managed to allow the inmate to escape, and then Worth became rivals with the guy who he was helping. His name is Shimbrin. Max Shimbrin is his whole name. He just like was jealous of Worth because he was such a smart mastermind.
I hate that people get so jealous over. It's just like, why? Why do you got to be so envious of?
Right. And they like worked together pretty well as a team, and Worth didn't have a problem with him. Mm-hmm. So it was just like him not being able to get over his own I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Bruh needed a therapist.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so he's just jealous of Worth's superiority and skill set. So Worth became alliances with the guy who he let loose from prison, actually. And they were doing so well that he no longer needed Frederica, and he went off on their own.
Oh.
Yeah. And so in 1869, they actually ended up setting up a shop next to a bank in Boston. And they basically had this shop built next to the bank because they were planning on robbing the bank eventually.
Okay.
And they were connected to each other through a wall. So they were thinking, let's just like put a hole in the wall and then like sneak over there and then get all the money and then sneak back. That's what they did.
Wow.
They wanted to rob it. So they dug a hole in the wall and did rob it. And the agency did a huge investigation, and eventually they found out that it was them who did it. So they go to the shop, they look for them, they are gone. So they left like right after. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's escaped a couple times now. And now he's in Europe, and he changed his name, and so did the other guy he was with.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. So Adam Worth changed his name to Henry J. Raymond, and he said that he was an oil mechanic from Texas.
That's just such a tough profession.
I know, right?
If you're
Someone
not
asks you
know.
a question, and you're like,
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm a bookstore clerk. Like,
yeah,
that
exactly.
can't be. Yeah.
And then Billard was the other guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
He changed his name to Charles Wells, and he said that he was a financier from the East Coast. So they went on to live in Liverpool for a few years, and they worked together on different heists and robbing and pickpocketing. They were the tag team. One day they met a barmaid named Kitty, and they were both very attracted to her, and they were like, oh, she's mine. No, she's mine. But then they ended up just becoming best friends with her, and she became a business partner with them.
Isn't that a plot of Sherlock?
It might be. I honestly know nothing about Sherlock
It's
Holmes.
been a few years.
It could be, though. Like,
well, because you have the two duos.
I don't know.
Please correct me. I don't know. It's been a while.
We'll find out, I guess. But the three of them became the Three Musketeers. And so they ended up actually telling her everything and telling her who they really were. And she was like, okay, cool. And she ended up marrying Billard. I guess he changed his name to Charles.
This is Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I think that's why it's based, like, part of the reason why it's based off of him. People think it's never been confirmed, but yeah. She married Billard over Worth, and Worth was like, but he got over it. And they ended up having kids together later.
Aww.
Worth helped them afford their honeymoon by robbing a pawn shop.
Fantastic.
He's like, hey, I robbed a pawn shop. Here you go.
Wait, they have pawn shops then?
Yeah.
What?
And in 1871, all three of them, which I think is so funny, that he's just hanging out with them still. Like, they're married.
He's just like the third wheel.
Yeah, they all moved to Paris together.
He's like, okay, guys. He's like their unofficial kid.
Right. So, he used cash and bought a 3-story building in the middle of Paris, and they ended up making it into a big bar.
Holy shit.
The top floor was an illegal casino.
I love it.
Yeah. And what was cool about this is that they could easily hide the gambling tables. So if somebody were to come check,
They could just flip
yeah,
them.
they could be like, it's just a bar. We're just hanging out. And a lot of people were there to gamble. Even the agency that tried to catch him before,
Yeah.
they like stopped there and hung out for a while just to kind of see the bar. And they were like, this is a really cool place. So nobody suspected anything. And then in 1873, Alan Pinkerton, I just love his last name. He was the founder of Pinkerton Detective Agency. He came to the bar. So the rest of the agents have been there before, but this was his first time coming.
Yeah.
And they believe that he found them to be suspicious. So when he came, he was kind of like, this is interesting. So they started freaking out, and they closed operations immediately to avoid getting caught and revealing their identities.
I feel like that's even more suspicious.
Right. Like, oh, interesting. You guys closed down the next day? Like,
Sus.
Yeah. So they sold everything that they had in Paris, including the bar.
Oh.
And with the money, they bought a huge mansion. Why not? Right?
Wow.
And then Worth was like, you know what? I'm so rich. I'm going to buy my own apartment. So he had his own apartment in a glorious neighborhood in London. He's fancy.
Ooh.
Yeah. And throughout the rest of the next few years, they mostly did swindling, robberies, and they even cracked open safes. They would just go and open safes up. And it was easier to hide their true identity because of these different crimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not killing people. Like, it's easier to get away with these things. And all of his gang, like I said, because of his direction, they refused to use violence of any kind. So if there was somebody at the area that they were going to pickpocket and they felt like they couldn't defend themselves, or they would put someone in danger, they would just not do it. They'd wait till later. So they were very clear on, like, we're going to do this. We're going to make money, but no one gets hurt. Which I love. I think that's so funny. So then we have Adam Worth's younger brother named John. He was in America, and he asked his brother, "Oh, please, sir, I'm so hungry. I can't find a job. Can you help me?" And I don't know how to do a German accent, so I just went with that.
That's more
that was like
broken British,
yeah.
but
I'm not even gonna try a German accent. Not today. So he was like, "Yeah, dude." I don't know what accent I just did. He's like, "Yeah, come on down to London. I can help you out." So his brother ended up coming to London, and his job was to go to banks and exchange bills for the different francs that they could get. So he had his own business going on. It was kind of illegal. And so he went to a bank that he was told to avoid. He was warned, don't go there. But he went there. and he was arrested.
Of course.
And put on trial. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, right after that, 4 of Worth's trusted employees were arrested in Turkey, and they were sentenced to 7 years in prison.
Oh,
so
God.
Worth is like, guys, what are you doing?
Listen to me.
You're failing. You had one job. And Worth bribed officials for them to get released. He's like, I've known them forever. They would never do anything like that. They'll never make this mistake again. Like he just was good at convincing people different things, and so it worked, and they got released, and he paid for it, but they were released, so
Shocker.
they didn't have to spend the whole 7 years. Yeah. In 1876, this is where the tea comes in that a lot of people know him for. There's a painting of the Duchess of Devonshire, I believe, at a London gallery. Oh. I can't tell if I wrote Devonshire or Devonshire. I think Devonshire sounds more right, but I can't tell if I wrote an R or an N, so we're going to go with Devonshire. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But there was a painting of a duchess at a London gallery. The artwork was called Georgiana, and it was originally purchased for £10,000. Someone came in and was like, man, I want that painting. I'll give you £15,000. And they were like, okay, but we're going to display it here for a few weeks, and then you can take it home at this date. And he's like, okay, cool. But then Worth came to the gallery.
Oh, no.
And he saw that painting, and he knew he wanted it. He's like, oh, yeah, that's mine.
That's so dangerous.
Yeah. And so he knew instantly that he wanted to steal the painting. And he wanted the painting so bad that he personally participated in the heist. So usually he hires people to do it. Yeah. He was like, nah, I want this. I'm going to do it myself. And he usually did not do that. So they were like, okay, whatever you say. So on May 27th at midnight, he snuck into the gallery. He had 2 people with him who were on watch while he went in. And they obviously didn't have good security because, you know, that wasn't a thing back then. Mm-hmm. So he was able to just rip off the painting. He just, like, cut the thing. And then...
It was very common.
Yeah. Grabbed the painting and kept it hidden in his home. He's planned to sell it within a few months.
Wait, he was so infatuated with it, but then he was like, I want to sell it now. Yeah. Why?
People think that he never actually had the intention to sell it. It was just what he told others.
Oh,
like the people helping him. He's like, don't worry, guys, I'm going to sell this. I just, like, I want it for a little bit. But, like, they kind of had a feeling like, no, he's going to keep it. Mm-hmm. So, the media started freaking out, obviously. They covered the painting going missing all over Europe. So everyone's like, where did Georgiana go? No. And he kept it for 25 years.
Holy shit. How did that thing not deteriorate?
I don't know. I don't know where he kept it, but yeah, it was in his house, and people were trying to tell on him, whether when they looked for the painting, they couldn't find it, so they didn't really know where he put it. Yeah. But he kept it for 25 years, and so obviously, with that being said, he probably had no real intention of selling it. Like I said, one of the people who helped him that was guarding the door, his name is Little Joe. I just love it. I love it. Little Joe. So Little Joe was the criminal who helped him get the painting, and he was like, I'm gonna set him up because I think he shouldn't be able to get away with this. And so he dressed like an undercover policeman. What? Which is like you're undercovering an undercover policeman. And then he was like asking him like casual questions. And then he brings up the heist, and he's like, so where were you that night? And Worth was so mad at him because he realized it was Little Joe. Yeah. I just imagine him like ripping off his mustache.
How dare you?
You betrayed me. And so he realized what was going on, and he flipped a table out of rage and then stormed out. Yeah. Oh, God. So Little Joe ended up being like, okay, whatever, I'll just move on. And so he went back to America to get away because he didn't want to get in trouble for this. Yeah. But he went back to America, and he instantly committed more crimes and was arrested. So done with him.
Bye,
Worth,
Little Joe.
Yeah. At this point, Worth, or Raymond, I guess, Worth was short on cash and traveled with a group to Cape Town in Africa. Wow. They wanted to exploit the diamond industry. Yeah.
Prime.
Yeah. So they tried just like going in and trying to steal the diamonds that way. Not so easy. No. So what he ended up doing was he befriended a postmaster. at the post office, basically,
Okay.
because they were shipping diamonds back and forth. And so he's like, if I just get on his good side, I might be able to steal one or two. And so he befriended the post office worker, knowing that they had access to the diamonds, and pretended to be a merchant. He got some alone time in the office. I don't know how, but somehow he managed to just be in there alone.
Yeah.
And he took wax and made a wax imprint of the key to the safe that had the diamonds in it, so that he could make a copy later. He's clever.
Wow.
So in the middle of the night one night, Worth entered the office and stole diamonds from the safe. It was around $500,000 worth.
Holy shit, for that time too?
Mm-hmm.
That has to be over a few $1 million worth.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But they didn't know who did it, because once again, he's running away.
You know what this makes me think of? Have you ever watched that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Oh, it is.
I was talking about that with my coworker today for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
but it's based off a real guy. Yeah. His story's hella interesting. I would love to cover it because Catch Me If You Can is like, it dramatizes a lot of the stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But like this gives me like an 1800 vibes of that.
Yeah.
But he goes much longer than this guy.
Mm-hmm. That's
Or
crazy.
like this guy goes much longer than Leonardo DiCaprio's character. Because he did
I need to
it
watch the
for
movie
like
again.
a few years. But like this guy,
Oh, and it's about 40 years of crime.
holy shit.
And I think it was over like 23,000 crimes.
Oh my God.
And nothing could be traced back to him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has like 10 different names
Yeah.
that are not real.
So he actually ended up getting married while all of this was happening.
What?
Yeah. And he had a son named Harry in 1888 and a daughter named Constance in 1891. In September of 1892, Worth was in Belgium now. That's where he's living. And he found out that his good friend who tried to betray him, Billard, had died. So that was Max Billard, the one who helped him, help the guy get out of jail.
Oh.
And Worth was actually really sad about this. And so he was like, man, I'm so sad. What do I do? And he was like, you know what? Let's do a bank robbery. That will help me feel better. It's like retail therapy to the next level. And so he had 2 accomplices with him. In October, they attempted to rob a stagecoach as well.
Okay.
They were spotted and apprehended by the police. Worth refused to admit what he did who he was, but they caught on to him. They were like, we can see right through your bullshit. And Max Shimon Billard, who had passed away,
Yeah.
actually told the police everything that he knew about Worth before he died.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
He's a little asshole. Jealous little... Anyway. In 1893, Worth's trial began because of all of this information on him.
Oh, God.
And there was not enough evidence to be convinced of his crimes, and he ended up denying everything. The only thing that he admitted to was the robbery of the stagecoach, saying that he was lacking money and didn't know what else to do.
I bet the entire trial, they would be like, so you did this. And he was probably like, prove it.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
so you stole these diamonds. Prove it.
Yeah. But he was found guilty, and he was sent to 7 years behind bars. He hated prison.
Okay.
And one of the biggest reasons was because Shinbin, before he died, he hired people to abuse Worth while he was in prison.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, buddy, did you have nothing better to do?
He just wanted to make his life miserable for no reason.
Yeah. And during this time, this is trigger warning, this gets really sad. His wife ended up getting sexually assaulted,
Oh God.
told she was psychotic because of the way she reacted, and then had to go to an insane asylum.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm like, and so because of this, she couldn't take care of the kids.
Yeah.
So his younger brother, John, ended up looking after the children. And then in 1894, he had 2 more close friends of his that died from a disease. So he's just kind of getting a lot of things happening to him at once.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1897, he was released without any cash. So he had nothing on him, no money. After all those years of work, he had nothing.
Oh my God.
And so he ended up robbing 4,000 pounds worth of diamonds just so he could make ends meet.
Well, yeah, it's like you're going to go back to crime when you have absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so much easier to do than actually make a living, because especially during that time, like, to really make yourself rich is almost impossible.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So then he ended up going to America to meet up with his family and kind of check in on them.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to Chicago, to Pinkerton of the agency, to reveal that he had the portrait of the Duchess. He admitted it. Yeah. They decide to make a deal. So Worth is going to return it for $20,000, but Pinkerton would get the credit for finding it. Which I would be like, did you? Because I know he's like in the agency, so he's a detective, so it's not as suspicious. But like, I'd be like, where did you find this? How do you just find a painting?
Well, I want to know where it was for those 7 years he was in prison.
Yeah, I don't know. He's so mysterious. Like, there's not a lot of information on him.
Yeah.
That's why they don't even know like when he was born. They know 1844-ish.
Yeah.
But they don't know for sure. So it's like,
this guy is like mysterious.
He is. But so they decide on the deal, and he exchanged the painting and got his money in 1901. Worth lived the rest of his life in London, and on January 8th, 1902, he died of natural causes, also known as he was old for that time.
Did his wife ever get out of the asylum, or did she die in there?
I'm pretty sure she ended up dying.
Oh, 100%. Those things were nasty.
Yeah. And so he was actually burned under his name, Henry J. Raymond.
Oh.
Yeah, because, again, they don't know who he was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was his alias, and that was what he was known by.
I'm very curious of how they started discovering all this stuff about him.
I know. It's very fascinating. A big reason for that is because of his son.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, like I said, he is widely considered the inspiration for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's fictional criminal mastermind, James Moriarty, in the Sherlock Holmes series. But his son actually ended up working as a detective in the future. And so he was inspired by his dad and the life that he learned that his dad led.
Yeah.
So there was, I don't know, there had to have been some documentation of like the crimes he committed.
Yeah.
For us to know this, but like, I don't know how. Maybe like on his deathbed, he told everyone everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like to just get away with all of that?
That blows my mind.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, it was a lot easier, but to like that extensive, like,
yeah,
you would think there would be a bigger downfall.
Right.
For him.
Yeah. That was it.
That is wild.
Mm-hmm. So, definitely a fascinating guy. The crime world. Crazy.
See, that's the kind of true crime I like to do on here is old shit.
Oh, yeah. Like, things that people don't talk about. So.
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy.
Me neither. So, thank you for requesting that. I don't remember who requested it, but thank you.
Oh, my God.
Should have wrote down their name, but yeah.
That was a fun one this week.
Yeah. What'd you learn?
I learned that in the 1800s, if you were smart enough, you could be super rich.
Yeah.
If you were skeevy enough, you could be super rich.
Yeah, skeevy.
You just got to be smart about it.
Right.
Because if you're stupid, because
Don't
there's
leave
a
any
lot
trails
of
behind.
No, yeah, that is the smart thing too. And I've also learned that it's a lot easier back then to have multiple identities when it comes to just switching them. Like now, it's like black market shit to get like a new identity and stuff. But then you like literally just, hi, my name is Bill, and then you just moved on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that's the episode. I think I learned just you got to make money somehow.
It's true. Where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok at Historia the Podcast. If you'd like to request an episode topic, or you just want to say hi, or you have a story about Adam Worth, or you're a Sherlock Holmes fan and this made you very excited, let us know at historiathepodcast@gmail.com.
Please let me know what it's about
Let us know if that like love triangle was
Yeah.
a plot line.
I'm curious.
Yeah, me too. But
I don't know.
yeah. Anyway.
Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week.
Yes, we will.
We got a good one.
I'm so excited. All right. Stay tuned, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.